Good morning. Good morning, friends and neighbors. Thank you, Rick, for sponsoring this, and the MetroWest Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. I'm Ed Mills. I'm from Hopkinton. I'm the state representative of the 8th Middlesex District. In Hopkinton, I sit on the Board of Assessors. I'm a business owner of Mills Fingerprint Service in Boston. I am on the MBTA Advisory Board and the chairman of the Democratic Town Committee. But today I want to bring to you my 4-step economic program, which consists of resort casinos, lifelong education, public infrastructure program, and a planned economic development program. We would see a potential of $200 to $600 million in license fees if we had a casino, 5,000 to 10,000 permanent construction jobs, $3 billion in private investment for 3 casinos in Massachusetts, 15,000 permanent jobs that will pay between $30,000 and $50,000 a year with benefits, and up to 6,000 to 8,000 spin-off jobs in the state of Massachusetts. And within the 3 to 4 year period, we would see between $350 million and $450 million coming to us in local aid. The point is that the investors are standing in line at the State House door to give us this money. Massachusetts citizens currently wager over $4.5 billion a year on our state lottery, and they gamble $1.2 billion a year in casinos south of us. This money is going south. None of this money is coming back to us. We distribute about $900 million a year in local aid from the lottery from the state of Massachusetts. This is not either or when it comes to economic development. This is an additional to all other efforts. Now, we have the low-lying fruit. We can grasp at the low-lying fruit. This is a great opportunity for us. Now I'd like to talk about lifelong learning. Massachusetts' only natural resources are the educational training and experience, ability, and readiness of our citizens. We must invest more in education each and every year. We must work on the availability and improvement of educational qualities at all levels for all citizens from early childhood, from kindergarten to grade 12, and then on to training and retraining programs. Education is a process, is a lifelong educational process, and we need to start this process now. My next area will involve in our needs of a massive public infrastructure program. I hope we will involve in trade schools, colleges, universities, and even apprentice programs of organized labor. We need workers with the education and training to do the work required, from laborers to welders to engineers to managers to for the full scope of our needs. I want these jobs to go to Massachusetts companies employing Massachusetts citizens who work, live, and pay taxes in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Our future depends on the readiness of our workers to engage in the century at all levels of needs. There will be no long-term economic development without taking these steps. Public infrastructure, deferred maintenance on roads and bridges, $18 to $20 billion. Massachusetts transportation needs would be at least $8 to $10 billion. Repair of existing pipes, no, not new pipes, about $8 billion. And repair to updating building labs of higher education between $4 billion and $4.5 billion. The total estimate that this will be is between $38 and $42 billion. This is a low estimate and could easily grow, and this will all need to be completed in the next 25 to 30 years. Investments are inevitable and must be done. They are our shared responsibility, and I believe they offer great opportunities. There will be thousands of new jobs all over the state of Massachusetts. Let us remember that the Boston Harbor cleanup was a multi-billion-dollar project. It was done on time and under budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're moving to questions. Candidates get 2 minutes to respond to each question. If you're paying attention to Ted there, he'll hold up a sign when it's 1 minute, half minute when you're done. And we'll go to questions from the audience, and we'll take turns here in terms of who speaks first. So on this first one, it'll be Paul, and then Ed, and then Carolyn. We'll cover this. How do you feel the various communities of MetroWest can effectively work together to offset the Boston bias of the State House when they are so diverse? I'm sorry, I called you Paul. Dan will start off on this one.
Well, as I understand the question, and if I'm getting it wrong, whoever asked it will speak up. But the question goes to the relative lack of or imbalance in influence as between Boston legislators and legislators in MetroWest and portions even further west of Boston. And as further west you go from Boston, the louder the complaints become. Again, when I was dealing with cities and towns in the State House, you know, that is a political reality right now. Much of leadership comes from Boston, and so that they have a disproportionate amount of influence. And I think our legislative caucus out here in MetroWest, and again, I know this firsthand from dealing with them from the other side of things, is a quite potent force, and they do work together very well, and they work in conjunction with groups like the MetroWest Chamber, the Arc of Innovation, the 495 MetroWest Partnership, which is a fantastic and growing organization, growing exponentially each year, both in terms of its reach and its influence. But frankly, this goes back to the core issue of the fact that there's no dissenting voice on Beacon Hill now. Everyone is so enthralled to the legislature and to the leadership and dependent upon the leadership for everything from office space to advancement in the committee system. Very few people are willing to stand up and buck leadership. And frankly, I'm running not to stay there my whole life. I don't care if I have a nice office. And one of the benefits of running as a Republican is you are immediately on good committees, influential committees, and people smile, but that's the fact of the particular situation in the legislature now. So the answer to the question really is a matter of willpower and the willingness to stand up, work with other legislatures, but make your voice heard even when leadership says sit down and be quiet.
Thank you. Ed, to you. What about the Boston bias in the legislature?
Well, we see the Boston bias, but as your next state representative, I would stand up and speak for the people of the 8th Middlesex District, work very, very hard. Just recently, I put a petition together for the Massachusetts Turnpike to roll back the prices back to pre-Big Dig construction levels. And I just read in the newspaper, it was put in the newspaper that my opponent to the right here, Dan, said it was a gimmick. But I'm looking at a gimmick. This is not a gimmick. I have 261 signatures. Most of them are from the town of Holliston. I hope when Dan knocks on the doors in Holliston, he can express to the people of Holliston that this is a gimmick. And we look over the last 16 years of Republican administrations that Dan was part of, and he talks about behind closed doors. And I think Dan was part of the problem, not the solution. We're looking at $15 billion. $15 billion that MetroWest has to pay to the tolls and to the bonding issues. $15 billion that was brought from us from the Republican administration. And I feel if Dan sits here and says to me that he was Chief of Staff, Kerry Healy, he was part of the problem, not part of the solution. Thank you.